Alright guys, so here we are with another Halo 4 track review. This one's going to be on Caesar's Palace GP. I'll have the forgers responsible for making this track in the description. But anyways, this track, this was also in a CRL GP race that we recently did, which you can find on my YouTube channel. So if you want to see some more race footage, from this track, you're going to want to go ahead and check out that race. And what we found out from that race is that this track is very raceable. There's a lot of different things that can happen here, one of them being the crossover that I just put on Gator. There is a lot of crossovers on this track. Like you'll notice that almost every single turn on this track is a crossover turn. For example, this one, I could easily do a crossover here, but it's hard with Gator's lag. But I still completed it. Now watch this turn. Another crossover. We'll go into this turn. Another crossover. So if you want to be good at this track, you have to know how to do the crossover. It's basically a requirement. But anyways, let's go into the real nitty-gritty of this track. This track is it's a pretty simple GP. Doesn't use too many blocks. Not too much to it. It's not very long. I'd say the lap time's probably 20 to 30 seconds. You know, shouldn't be that long. Ooh, see? Crossover. You gotta be good at crossovers on this track now. Look at this. Gonna let him go by me. Get through here. And shut up. And another crossover. Watch this. Let him go. And sneak on that inside. This track's just ridiculous for crossovers, but I've emphasized that enough. Anyways, you can see that this track, on raceability, it is very good. If you watch the CRL race, you'll realize that there is a lot of good battles going on. So the racing here is very good, very competitive track. And Gator's lag is really messing me up here, but really raceable track. In terms of variety, which I've started going over, especially in GP tracks, in terms of variety, there isn't too much of a variety of turns. I was talking in the Everland video, I believe, about how I was tired of Supercross forgers making a lot of 180s. And this one has a lot more dragged out 180s that are good for crossovers. So the turns are still a little unique, but if you look at the overall track layout, a lot of the turns are very similar. So it's not amazing on variety, but however, the way the turns are placed does work very well for raceability, so I'm not really going to knock them for that. When we go to aesthetics, there really isn't much here. It's a very bland track. So, although this was made without a mod, I believe, so yeah, it had to have been made without a mod. So there really wasn't too much they could do, but still there isn't too much aesthetically on this track. It's pretty bland, so not the best aesthetically. Like this area has pretty much nothing. In terms of bordering, the track is pretty good. The whole track's bordered off, and that's good. It won't fall off. So in most terms, this track is really good, but when it comes down to it, I think this is one of the better GPs for racing, because there's so many good battles here, so many good crossovers, just so many different moves you can make. Yep, and you can gain on other drivers really quickly if you know the right line. See, look at that! Just took that whole turn, no braking at all. I wish I would have learned that line during the actual race. Probably would have won, but anyways, let's work on Gator here. But when it comes down to making a final score, it's very hard to do that. But I'd say the variety is decent. It's not great, but it's decent. And again, I don't want to knock them too hard for variety, because the way the turns are set up, it works very, very well for crossovers. The aesthetics, this is really the worst. That's really the worst part of this track. Kind of similar to Everland, like it's a really raceable track. The aesthetics are just not that good. There's really nothing going on there. So aesthetics could have used a little bit more. And raceability, this track is very raceable. You guys have seen that during the video, and you probably see that in the race if you watch it. So Very good on that part, and in overall fun factor, this track's very fun, especially when you're running with other people and the amount of crossovers and battles. This track is really fun. So this track, it's going to be very hard to rate it, but I would have given it more if it had a little more aesthetically, but I'm going to give it an 8.9 because I think this is, you know, it's better than Everland. That's sort of what I was comparing it to. It's way better raceability wise than Everland, but they both are sort of, but they're both sort of equally bad on aesthetics. But overall, I give it an 8.9. If this would have been a little bit more better aesthetically, I probably would have given it a 9. But anyways, I'll see you guys at the next track. Can't really tell you what it is, but I'll just say it's a Supercross.